Hey guys, this is Tilly with another beginner guide for Vindictus. Today's topic will be all about what you should be doing after reaching level 90. And if you're not yet there, and you want to learn some neat tricks how to get there and how to already prepare some of the topics we wanna discuss today, check out my previous video down below in the description. But if you are already level 90, then welcome to the game. This is where Vindictus actually starts. The very first thing you want to do after getting level 90 is return to town, get to the event tab down below in the bottom, hit character growth goals, and up top I already collected it because my character is already a higher level than 90, but this is where you will find your level 90 gear. It will be both rings, the belt, the earrings, a weapon, and a full set of armor. Beware, I'm not wearing the free set, I have some advanced gear already. So after reaching level 90 and equipping that free gear, you are indeed actually able to participate in Season 3 raids, which is technically the endgame right now, right? So if you do want to group up for some, and I would actually recommend you to do a few of them per day, what you want to do is press the K button, get a filter going, just get everything but Season 3 out of the way, and check mark raids. If you hit confirm now, you will only have 2 pages left, which will be the most important one anyways. So anything from Garden of Tears to Denizen of the Deep. Like a full page and the next raid on the second page. Those are your level 90 raids. For most level 90 bosses you do actually have 2 raids. The reason behind that is the bottom one, or the one below, is usually the farmable, while the upper one is usually the story raid, which you can only host if you are at that specific point in story. But they do have increased drop rates, so whenever you see them pop up, I would definitely join them, because it doesn't interfere with your daily departure limit on the main battle, but it actually has higher drop rate. The main thing you're looking for while doing these raids is either some expensive scrolls, and if you watch my beginner guide when I talked about how you want to get rid of all the scrolls you got so far, this is where you want to take a deeper look. Any scrolls you get from these raids, go to the marketplace and check their price, because most of them can turn into some good money. There are some trashy ones, as always, but you can make an easy buck out of the most of them. You could be getting Damascus Steel, which is used for Reforge, which I will have my own video on later on, so stay tuned for that one. And you can, or you will, because it's guaranteed, get Seals of Bravery. I will also talk about that later on. So those raids you can do daily actually, and the other thing you should be doing daily is Royal Army Raid. I could have included that into my leveling guide already. I chose not to for a specific reason. You could technically join after level 30. In my opinion though, if you don't know your class yet, if your gear is really bad, and you might get punished for joining, and by punished I mean you could be wasting a substantial amount of time, and nobody really likes wasting time during leveling, so I didn't include it. But definitely after reaching level 90 you want to do them on a daily. Right now there's an event going on where you can departure an additional time. So the basic additional time is 1. You get a second time for VIP, which I have running right now. And because of the event you could technically depart a third time. And if you have joined a guild by now, as a new player it would not be a bad idea to actually spend your guild departures on those. Because Royals, they technically reward you with everything you need as a new player. From AP, which you need to max out your skills, to Seals of Bravery, a currency which is used to purchase some endgame items, and I'll talk about that later as I said before, up to money, up to materials, like literally anything that drops in Royal is worthwhile for you. The third and final daily topic I want to talk about is actually only unlocked after reaching level 95. But in my opinion, after reaching level 90, it should only take you so much to get to level 95. Those 5 levels are still pretty damn fast. So I'll include them already, and it's your chunk dailies. If you head to the burp section of the map, which is essentially your Season 3 part of the map, Malina being Season 2, and Colleen or Roques being Season 1, right? So you have Season 1, Season 2, and Season 3. That's your up-to-date content. You want to keep an eye on Donegal and Aidan, because that's where chunks drop. Chunks are used for level 95 here. How that really works crafting I will show in a separate video also, so stay tuned for that one. But in those two areas, one of the quests, if you click on it, actually has the today stamp, Battle of the Day. And what Battle of the Day actually means is you get a little bit more AP for it, which is cool. You need AP as a new player. And a named boss will appear. And that guarantees a second boss to spawn in during your adventure. Not like at the end you have to fight two, but during the dungeon there will be a second one. That essentially doubles your odds of getting one of those orange chunks, which in EU right now is worth about 3 to 8 mil on the lowest rolls, depending on which kind of chunk you get. And on NA probably like twice the amount. So both in Donegal, today it would be You Only Live Once, YOLO. And in Aidan, it would be Repeated Alert. As a new player, these named bosses that do appear as a daily bonus are actually rather hard. So what I would recommend you do is remember the names, You Only Live Once, and Repeated Alert, and use your Quick Battle menu. Quick Battle you always want to use when you want to team up with randoms. And the board you always want to use if you want to solo stuff, or if you want to make use of the restart function, if you want to farm a specific dungeon for multiple times. But as I said, if you need help, go to the Quick Battle, use the search button, type in You Only Live Once, and there you go. What I would recommend you do is create party and wait for a few minutes until people join in. So they will help you clear it, because as I said, as a new player, those named bosses might actually be rather threatening to you. Alright, that concludes my list of things you should be doing after reaching level 90 on a daily. As I said, all of these do rotate daily or reset daily. Coming to something that is more long-term progression orientated. And it's still story actually. When I told you how you should level, I told you to always keep pressing the story progression button if you're solo, or if you play in party, just follow the current main story anyway. And that's because even after reaching level 90, your story is still very important to unlock stuff. Namely, the both Redeemers, which I will talk about later, and the accessories you will need for level 100 raids. Because after reaching level 90, your first goal should be to unlock all of the raids. Like I told you earlier, you should be doing Garden of Tears to Denizen of the Deep once you get level 90, because those are the raids you can actually handle very good. But there are obviously way more. There are all your level 95 raids from The Missing Soul to Distorted Truth. And then everything above that is your level 100 raids. And in the beginning, because of stat requirements, you just won't be able to do these Asteria raids, these level 100 raids. And that's technically your first goal, making sure to be able to participate in those. And you need 2 things for that. It's an Asteria weapon, which I would recommend you to get right away as soon as possible, and accessories, because you need a stat that is called Counterforce, and you can only obtain that stat by enhancing your accessories. Let's talk about those accessories actually first. As I said, you do want to continue doing your story, because after doing all of those dungeons up to Donegal, after you completed Donegal, and after you killed Dullahan, and after you killed actually Ayers, you will be able to complete this quest right here, Looming Conflict. It will require you right now to obtain the Enlightened title, which is done by defeating Ayers, and afterwards it will require you to get the Abomination and the Eogate Essence. But it will reward you with those 2 items, a +15 earring and a +15 belt. Those are pretty good to get you started to do Asteria raids. So I can only emphasize it even more. Do your story. After getting the belt and the earring, you want to focus on your rings, because those are your 4 accessories: earring, belt, and rings. And how you obtain the rings is actually something I told you earlier, by doing level 90 raids and doing Royal Army raids. What you do get for doing those are Seals of Bravery. And if we go to the exchange shop and click Seal Shop and head over to Seal of Bravery, second one from the top, you will find a bunch of helpful stuff. And what we are looking for is down below in the bottom, Smooth Legendary Chunk. You will need 4 of these, each one being 100 seals, so you are looking for 400 seals in total, which if you're dedicated takes you about a week or 2 to get. And then the only really thing that will be missing are Dullahan essences. You can technically buy them for 120 seals, but in EU right now they only cost 1 mil, so if you're EU I would definitely recommend to buy them off the marketplace. Or what I could also recommend you is check out my streams, because whenever I do have one of them, as well as AOG 8 and Abomination Essence, I do give them away to new players. So if I have some installed, definitely make sure you check it out. So after obtaining these rings, you want to enhance them as well to, I would say, around 15. And you actually do that by clicking the enhance button in your inventory. Go to an accessory enhancement, and right now I don't have any on this character that are enhanceable, but what you want to do is drag it in, press the enhance button. Unlike armors and weapons, which again I will have a specific video talking about how you enhance those too, accessories won't be destroyed after failing. So if you hit the enhance button, the worst thing that can happen is all your materials will be gone. It fails. You can easily try again without any major flaw to it. It will get quite expensive and the odds will get quite low after 15. So only really go further if you do have the money. Alright, so these 4 items, earring, belt and both rings, will give you the counter force to do the first Asteria raids. What you want to get now is an Asteria weapon. As I just said, I will have a separate video on how to craft Season 3 items, meaning armors and weapons. But to give you the very short version of that, if you hold down your Alt key over any Season 3 item, you will see down below there's a menu popping up. Let's check out the weapon, and for an Asteria version you would need an Asteria essence, a keen ore, a stable ore, a lightweight ore, and a perfect ore. Like technically replace everything that reads shard in your level 90 weapon with ore, keen legendary ore, and so on and so forth. And replace whatever's up front, Braha, Regina, Abomination, with Asteria. Using those 5 items will get you a Asteria weapon. Those are the very basics to unlock most of the Asteria raids. Let's get a little deeper look into how to use the quick battle menu to get informations you want to know about. Click for example on the first Asteria raid, which is Claire. There are a couple of neat things you can learn from this page. For example, the minimum requirement to get rewards is 7%. That's why you need to get the weapon and the counterforce, the accessories, because if you deal less than 7% damage, like total damage of the boss's HP, you will only get 1 piece of loot instead of 10. That's quite the difference, right? And your attack applies up to 33,000. That is the attack cap. Whenever you see that red number, that's the attack cap. And attack caps in this game are really important. It should be your first priority to cap out the attack on a battle you're attempting to farm. Let's say, for example, for my silas over here, I have 27,000. I'm 6k off. That sounds like a lot, but actually, if I only upgraded my weapon to Asteria, which I told you to do, I would be getting there. So you don't need to worry about this number if you get an Asteria weapon. You do want to worry about it if you are looking to gear up and you want to check your priorities. And if you are a little advanced player and you already know about something like AD, additional damage, it is way worth it to lose 1k AD to get 1k attack. Attack actually scales better than additional damage, because after all, additional damage is additional damage on top of the limit. And the last very neat thing is view monster info, the yellow box up here. If you hover it, you see 3 stats. The very first one is the enemy's critical chance, which is 170. That's just a number, and you might think, like, what percentage is that? It is 170% to crit you, but he obviously doesn't always crit you, because you have crit resistance yourself. So what you want to do is take her critical, which is 170, and subtract your critical resistance, which in my opinion, in my case, sorry, is 127. And you will end up with 43 in my scenario. So she has a 43% chance to crit me, which is rather high. I really don't want to get hit by her. And then crit resistance is actually the other way around. You want to look at your crit first, which is 120, and her crit resistance after, which is 125. And you will see I have a negative chance of critting her. That's because I'm using a level 90 weapon right now, and as I said, you only want to go there after getting your Asteria weapon. With my Asteria weapon, I'd probably have like a 20-30% chance of critting. And the last thing is CF resistance. CF is short for counter force, which I already told you about, which is the stat you need to actually deal damage to Asteria raids. Counter force, if we come over here to your stats again, is a stat that applies up to 100. 100 after counterforce resistance. That means in order to achieve 100 counterforce on Claire, which has a 5 counterforce resistance, you yourself need 105. So after subtracting the resistance, you will still be at 100. That's how you cap out the enemy. If we check out the requirements, you actually only need 75. So after getting the story earrings and belt, and the 2 Dolahan rings that I told you, you actually will be able to do Makka. You won't be able to do Graves of Madness and Brilliant Luke. What you would need to do in order to do them is actually upgrade your earrings or rings by either getting the level 100 rings or the level 100 belt earring. Or you could also upgrade your current ones a little further. But it's probably more worth to get the new ones, because any money you put into your level 90 rings or level 95 rings is somewhat wasted, because you will exchange them in the end anyways. So if you put another 10 mil into your rings trying to get them to plus 20, those are 10 mil you could have used to get the new rings, which are higher counterforce scaling. And that is basically how you unlock all of the Season 3 raids, by getting an Asteria weapon and by getting the accessories. In my opinion, it's really worth to unlock them as soon as possible, because obviously level 100 is the latest content, because level 100 right now is the maximum. Level 100 raids do have the highest chance of getting you Damascus Steel, which is worth about 2.5 mil as of right now on EU, probably again twice as much on NA. And it does drop fairly often, so while it's a rather low amount of money per piece, the quantity is rather high in those raids. But yeah, that's technically the daily grind and the very early on gear progression you want to chase after. Let me now talk about 2 somewhat advanced tactics of advancing or progression in the game. And the first one would be your Redeemers. I can show you, for example, Redeemers are your very end game content. They are way more difficult and way more punishing than your average Season 3 raids. They are made for 8 people instead of 4, like your Season 3 raids. And they do have a revive restriction. So after dying too many times, you actually have to be the spectator and watch your team do all the work. And don't be scared. Really don't. I have seen a bunch of people, and I was the same when I started. I did not want to bother people. I did not want to be a burden. I did not want to lead. I did not want to be the reason why we lose whatsoever. Just cut it. Don't think that way. Just join them as soon as you unlock them, because all of those stats you see over here times 2, because there's 2 Redeemers, you can unlock by doing them. They are very hard. You will 100% die, but no one will ever hate you for it. I would actually love to see you do them if you're new, because in my opinion, Redeemers are the most fun content in the game once you get the hang of them. I know very early on, when you get your ass handed, it might not seem fun, but after a few tries, if you hand them their ass, it does feel amazing. And it's very rewarding, as I said. All of these stats in total. Let's go per Redeemer. You have 1k attack, 1k HP, 5 crit, 600 attack limit removal, and that times 2. Those are some crazy stats to get for free. It will take you a few weeks, maybe also months, to unlock all of them, but the sooner you get started, the sooner you finish, right? And the second one you can actually do solo. Oh, you have to do it actually solo, because that's the way it's meant to be. If you hit your G button again and you go to Ein Lacker, you will find all of these beautiful, beautiful quests. Up top, you have Battle of the Day. You have 10 of those. You can do them as many times as you want per day. And everything underneath the other battle category, you can only try once per day. All of the other battles, they do rotate. So there are in total 80 battles right now in Ein Lacker. And all of them do rotate as Battle of the Day. What you want to do is get 27 raids and 43 normal battles done, achieving a golden medal. A golden medal is getting hit 3 times or less. Let's go. I think I've seen one down below. Yes, Betrayer. I actually did that one on my Silas already, and it shows all the medals, which means I did this battle while getting hit 3 or less times. And that's what you're looking for. I really know, as a new player, this might seem impossible. It requires you to have 70 battles almost mastered to a point where you get hit 3 times or less. But hear me out on it. You don't need to hard grind it out. You don't need to try all 70 once per day and don't get anything and be sad afterwards. What I would really recommend you do, pick one per day and try it a few times. Getting one done per day is already awesome. Maybe once you feel more comfortable, you want to go for 2 per day. 3 per day, and so on and so forth. What Ein Lacker does for you is actually it teaches you to play your class very, very well. I still remember back when I started playing the game, I was really struggling with some of my class's mechanics, but after getting the achievements in Ein Lacker, I actually finally understood how to play my class. And I think it's something that everybody needs to do, really. Not because all of these stats. Oh, by the way, stats. You get, I think, 6 balance and 4 critical, which is crazy. But beyond those stats, the knowledge about your class you will obtain doing these over and over again. And it will be frustrating. I've been there. I've struggled through it. It's worth it. Not only for the stats, but for your class knowledge. It will improve your overall gameplay. So, do your Ein Lackers. Alright, that actually concludes my list of things you should be doing after reaching level 90. To give you the too long didn't watch version again, I would recommend you to do royals, chunk dailies, unlock redeemers, do Ein Lacker, gear progress to a point where you can do Asteria raids. And that's technically the most important things you need to know after getting level 90. If you still have more questions about how to do certain topics, because I know I touched some of them very, very briefly, feel free to leave a comment down below. Or check on my streams, I will link them down below again. But that's it for now. Thank you so much for watching again. If you did enjoy the video, feel free to hit the thumbs up button. Feel free to hit the subscribe button, because I will be covering more beginner topics in the future. And have a great day. See you around.